Hello, boys and girls. Today our story is going to be about this. What is this? It's very colorful, isn't it? Well, it's something that starts with this letter here, the letter Y, and it's spelled like this, Y-A-R-N. It is yarn. So our story today is called Extra Yarn. And the story is by Barnett. And the pictures, the illustrator, the person who draws the pictures is John Clayson. So Mac is the one who wrote the words, and they worked together to do this. Ooh, you can see right here in this picture. I'm gonna move this over. There's some yarn to start off with right away. Ooh, it's going all around the words. And it leads us right to that box. On a cold afternoon in a cold little town where everywhere you looked was either the white of the snow or the black of the soot from chimneys, Annabelle found a box filled with a yarn of every color. So she went home and knit herself a sweater. And when Annabelle was done, she had some extra yarn. So she knit a sweater for Mars too, but there was still extra yarn. Who do you think Mars is? Well, there's the girl Annabelle. So that means this must be Mars. I wonder what she'll do with the extra yarn. Let's find out. And when Annabelle and Mars went for a walk, here's Nate, he pointed and laughed and said, "You two look ridiculous." And Annabelle says, "You're just jealous." And Nate said, "No, I'm not." Oh, do you think he wants a colorful sweater like Annabelle? But it turned out he was. Look at that. She made it for him and the dog. And even after she made a sweater for Nate and his dog, and for herself and for Mars, she still had extra yarn. Who else would you make something for? She found a friend, made it for that friend. Do you have a friend you would make it for? At school, Annabelle's classmates could not stop talking about her sweater. "Quiet," shouted Mr. Norman. That must be Mr. Norman, he's a teacher. "Quiet, everyone. Annabelle, that sweater of yours is a terrible distraction. I cannot teach with everyone turning around to look at you." Guess what Annabelle's solution is? What do you think she might do so people won't turn around? Let's think. What could she do? I think I have an idea. She said, "Then I'll knit one for everyone so they won't have to turn around." "Impossible," said Mr. Norman. "You can't." He must not think she has enough yarn. Do you think she has enough yarn? Let's find out. Let me turn the page. But it turned out she could, and she did. Look at this, for all the friends, and even for Mr. Norman. And when she was done, Annabelle still had extra yarn. So she knit sweaters for her mom and dad, for Mr. Pendleton and Mrs. Pendleton, and for Dr. Palmer, and for little Louie. She made sweaters for everyone except for Mr. Crabtree, who never wore sweaters or even long pants, and who would stand in his shorts with the snow up to his knees. "No sweater for me, thanks," said Mr. Crabtree. So guess what she made for him? She made Mr. Crabtree a hat. And even then, Annabelle still had extra yarn. She's going to run out of people to make it for, don't you think? She made it for her parents. She made it for friends. She made it for a teacher, for dogs. Who else could she make something for out of yarn? I don't know. Maybe grandmas and grandpas? Let's find out. She made sweater for all the dogs and all the cats and for other animals too. Soon people thought, soon Annabelle will run out of yarn. So Annabelle made sweater for things that didn't even wear sweaters. Look at that, the mailbox, the birdhouse, the house. She didn't run out, did she? She still had more. That's a big thing to knit for, isn't it? A house? Do you think she's out now? Look at all the houses. Things began to change in that little town. What colors did it start out with? It was just 2 colors. It was just black and white. And now look at, the town is so colorful. News spread of this remarkable girl who never ran out of yarn, and people came to visit from around the world to see all the sweaters and to shake Annabelle's hand. One day, an archduke, who was very fond of clothes, sailed across the sea and demanded to see Annabelle. "Little girl," said the archduke, "I would like to buy that miraculous box of yarn, and I'm willing to offer you $1 million. "No, thank you," said Annabelle, who was knitting a sweater for a pickup truck. Oh, there it is. That's a pickup truck. The archduke's mustache twitched. $2 million, he said. Annabelle shook her head. "No, thanks." $10 million, shouted the archduke. "Take it or leave it." Guess what Annabelle says? Does she want that money? She said, "Leave it. I won't sell the yarn." And she did it. Do you think the archduke will be happy with that? I wonder. She really has been very generous in serving others with her yarn. Oh, that's really kind of her. Look at it, it's dark out. Uh-oh. Look at this. What are those ladders doing up to that window? Do you know what happened? That night, the archduke hired 3 robbers to break into Annabelle's house, and they stole the box, and they took it to the archduke, who set off across the snow and sailed over the sea. He stole it. And he went back to his castle. The archduke put his favorite song on and sat in his best chair. And then he took out the box and he lifted its lid and he looked inside. You think the yarn's in there? You think yes? Or do you think no? Let's find out. Look it. Did you guess there would be nothing in it? His mustache quivered. It shivered, it trembled. The archduke hurled the box out of the window and shouted, "Little girl, I curse you with my family's curse. You will never be happy again." Oh, it landed on this. Look at that. But it's sailing across the water. There it is. Oh, guess where it came back to? It's a little girl and the dog, and they still have their sweaters on. And the town is still very colorful. It turned out she was. Look at all of that yarn. Look at how happy they are. The end. So who would you knit something for with this yarn? Or better yet, is there something you can do for others that will show love to them and brighten their day and make it cheery, show love to them just as Jesus shows love to you? God bless your day, boys and girls.